The West Virginia State Health Department has put out 2 sets of guidelines for the opening of aquatic facilities. The governor has put out 1 guidelines for recommendation. They were updated, and then his executive order was issued last Friday. And so sorting through, and also we are looking at the CDC guidelines for the operation of aquatic facilities, taking the COVID-19 virus into consideration. So just some points, and I won't go through this whole thing. I just wanted to give it to you for something to read. But the main thing to realize is the governor's executive order is just that. It is an order, and it will be enforced by our local health department regarding, and the big thing that everybody is talking about is social distancing. So on a normal day at the pool, our capacity, which is based on the water area, approximately 15 square feet per person. It varies a little bit in deeper water. You have to add 300 square feet for a diving area. Anyway, I won't give you all the details. Well, anyway, normally we would hold 900 people. That would be our maximum capacity. Over a course of a day, it's not unusual for us to go over the 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 person mark. So that's quite a few people that frequent our facility. Now, where the problem comes in is when we do the social distancing. That is based on the square footage of our deck. How many people, and that's basically, and I don't want to speak for the governor, but the way we interpret his social distancing recommendation is for pools is you can put as many people in there as long as they're 6 foot apart. So that's what we did. Came up with a number of around 150. Well, then you have to take into consideration families that live together. Of course, they're allowed to congregate a little bit differently. So we came up with a little over 200. Well, our staff at Splash Zone is approximately 25 people. So if we say our occupancy is 225, then that means that we could admit 200 people to the facility a day. So problem 1 is that if you normally have 600 to 1,200 people, you are turning away 400 to 1,000 people every day. They won't even have the opportunity to come in there. The second issue is that financially, we cannot operate, we cannot even break even at 200 people a day. So our number is more closer to 300, a little bit above. Now we don't, it's, obviously we would like to make money operating a facility, but in situations like this, and I'm sure John and the park board agrees, if we could just break even, we would be happy. So we've surveyed a bunch of pools in the state. Some are opening, some are closing. We talked, I believe, 45 different cities and counties. 29 are closed, 13 are open, and 12 undecided. Of the 13 that are open, 6 pools are operating at a capacity of less than 25 people per day. Now that you reflect on maybe the older pools, like I'm trying to give you an example, like a Staley pool or ones that you need 3 lifeguards. Okay, well, 3 lifeguards and a manager and a concession kid, and you're gold. But in our case, we have such a nice facility, and it's kind of it hurts us in this situation. But we use 15 guards on the deck because of all the different bodies of water, the slides, the lazy rivers, the water play pools. So we have to ensure, and that's everybody's main concern is the safety of the people there. So that hinders us in that respect. There's a bunch of other stuff, additional disinfecting, things like that we have to do. There's been some discussion on whether the CDC says that you should clean and disinfect the surface after each use. And they specifically say ladders, slides, things that kids play on, which basically our water play pool, all the water slides we have, everything else we have, so it makes it very difficult for us to comply with that. I don't believe we would necessarily have to do it, but the main 2 points I wanted to stress is the occupancy level that we are faced with, and also an operating deficit close to $50,000 for the season. So that being said, we have waited and researched. As you are well aware, a lot of the pools in the area have already closed for the season. And so we held out hope, and John would agree, that we purposely tried to wait to see if things might change. The governor did increase the gathering number to 100 today, which really has because that has nothing to do with the pool itself. Excuse me. Talking too much. But anyway, that's it in a nutshell. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Is the park board considering maybe doing some kind of a shift thing like some other pools are doing, where you might buy a ticket for a few hours and then they clear out the pool, disinfect stuff, and then sell tickets for the second half of the
Well, we've talked about that, and the disadvantage to that is that we could not charge, and I don't think we would ever want to charge full price for less than the 7 hours that we're normally open. So if we're going less than that, we have to reduce our admission fee, and then that basically puts you back into the same financial situation because you're not charging, I think it's $9.50 and $7.50, so $8.50 is kind of the average. But if you go far below that, even though you have more people, you're still not generating the revenue you need to operate or to break even.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
This is your, you deal with this all the time. What's your recommendation?
Well, I've dealt with it for 39 years. I've dealt with swimming pools. I've talked to numerous cities, counties throughout West Virginia. We've had several video conferences with park directors from all over the state. It seems like the smaller pools are the ones that are able to open. The larger pools, such as ours, there's a wave pool down in Putnam County, in Hurricane, and they're not opening this year. So I have a hard time recommending we open, just due to the fact of we're not going to be able to let that many people in the pool, and then financially we're also, we do not have $50,000 to eat, basically, to throw away. Now Morgantown did make the statement they had the funds and they were going to be able to operate in deficit, but I don't think Clarksburg, it's never the board's intention to lose, as long as we break even, and we've done that on the pool and the amphitheater and just about every other program we do. We're not interested in making money, we're just interested in providing a service to the public and breaking even on that process. So given that, my short answer would be I would recommend we close for this year.
I'm not going to beat you up in public. I've been pretty vocal about this. I do want to apologize to you for publicly saying the pool's going to open. Somebody else put it out there, and I shared it. I should have checked and made sure that was correct before I went along with that, but
Sure.
Apologize for that. I've looked at all these recommendations and all these rules, and, I went over all the different ones, and I really just don't know how you're arriving at that capacity. It really feels to me like when I read these that 50% should be sufficient. And, also, these recommendations are changing daily. And the most recent thing, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they're saying the least likely way to get this virus now is from surfaces.
Oh, I agree, 100%. But and that, taking that into consideration, that's not the capacity is the main issue. And we have taken the square footage of our deck. We have, because we could fit 150 people at social distance guidelines. We could fit 131 people in the pool bar. Now, as we all know, everybody's not in the pool and everybody's not on the deck. So we met with the local health department officials and feel comfortable with that 200 number. I don't know what else to. We've looked at it for weeks and weeks, trying to come up with different numbers.
How much more would the number have to go up to break even?
You'd have to be well over 300 just to break even. But even at 300 and whatever, you're still, people are not going to be able to be admitted to the pool.
I feel like just the additional duties that you have to perform to disinfect the areas where people's at and get up and move, I mean, that's awful costly. I mean,
Well, we would have to do, I mean, we would start, because people, knowing people, they would start lining up early in the day. We would have to get to a certain point, whatever our capacity level is, and then at that point, we're basically telling people, sorry, you can't come in today.
That's a concern, the concern is, if the number's 100 or what, I really would hate to see, and I know it's gonna happen, that when you get to 100 or 150 people, well, you can't get in the pool now because we've exceeded the number, so, because I guarantee you, there's gonna be a demand to go in that pool, and so I think that also is, a negative, and the fact is that we're gonna be turning people away, that, basically, a lot of them maybe our residents too, because you're gonna have people from out of county coming, I'm sure as well, so.
But that's like a blanket punishment, then, it's like, if we have to stop at some point, then nobody can go. I think that's a terrible way of looking at it, really.
Well, if you're not, if you're gonna go into a deficit,
I just
There's
think.
council-
I'm arguing for the deficit, I'm arguing that you're way low on the capacity.
Well,
I think it should be more like 400, 450. So, I guess that's where our disagreement is.
Well, what I'd like to say on this, I've come down and talked